Hi guys! I am sorry that I can't see you guys in person this week, but I planned some really fun lessons for you to work on while you're at home. While you're at home, you should be working for about 45 minutes each day on these assignments for gifted. If you're not finished after 45 minutes, you can continue it the next day. So the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday assignments are just what I would think you would be able to get done in about 45 minutes. Please don't worry if you're not able to finish everything before next week. As long as you're working really hard and learning, then I am perfectly happy. So for Monday, I want you to respond to these discussion questions about architecture using this Google form. So you'll be thinking about what we've learned about architecture, and there's a question that makes you use your information about analogies when answering these questions. So you'll click right here and you'll answer these questions. So if creativity were a machine, what would it look like? And by the way, you are welcome to have a parent type your answers because I really want to make sure that everything that you want to say about these would end up in this form. If you were a cupcake, what kind would you be and why? I want you to relate it to personality or character traits that you have. Name and list things that are both hot and cold. So use your brainstorming strategies when you're doing this. You want to list as many ideas as possible. I would love to see who can get the very most ideas on this list of hot and cold. Architect is to building as blank is to blank. So remember, when you're doing an analogy, you look for the relationship between the first two. So the relationship between an architect and a building. And then you find another pair that uses the same relationship. All right, for this one, look at these crazy buildings. Each of these three are actual real buildings that an architect designed. What do you notice and wonder about the buildings in the above pictures? When you're all finished, you can click submit and you're done for Monday. On Tuesday, I want you to log into Epic Books. You can only do this between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., so school hours. Directions for logging in are attached in the resources section. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you click on the resources section, actually the easiest way is through the plans. There we go. All right, scroll down after these plans and it says Epic login information. If you're not familiar with Epic, it's just a wonderful website with so many wonderful books to read. So you'll go up into your browser and type getepic.com/students, and then you can either enter the class code or it might already be here, the RJB7105. Then you'll click on your name. It's not going to work right now because I'm doing this on the weekend. Okay. But when you click on it during the week between 8 and 4, there's a book that will be assigned to you called Iggy Peck Architect. So you'll read Iggy Peck Architect and you're going to do a project based on that story. And if you like it, it's a whole series. So there's a book called Rosie Revere Engineer. There's something scientist. So if you enjoy it, I would love for you to read some more of these books on here. So after you finish reading, I want you to be like Iggy and design a building of your own. So you can choose to use paper and crayons or pencils, or you can collect different 3D materials around your house or outside in your yard. Be sure to write down what type of building you made and the materials that you used, and then you'll bring your building to school with you when you return. Now, I am purposely not giving you a ton of directions on this because I want you to be super creative. We've been learning about architecture for several months now, so I really want you to think about the things that we've talked about, like form and function and what you need in a building to make it work, but what are the things that you might like to have. You know, I've talked a lot about how I love lots of windows, so I would definitely want to build my building with a lot of windows. You may also want to incorporate a little bit about what we did for our last lesson, where you guys filled out the decision-making matrix and decided the best material for your dream home. So maybe you want to include some of that material and think about what your reasons were for that choice being made. Was it the cost? Was it how safe it was? Was it how realistic it was to actually build with that material? So I can't wait to see the structures that you guys create. On Wednesday, I want you to watch this Google Slides presentation about Greek architecture. While you're watching, I want you to write down 3 new facts that you learned and 2 adjectives that describe Greek architecture. Remember, adjectives are describing words. Then bring this paper with you to our next class. So if you click on this Google Slides, you can go to present it, and go through all the different slides. So it talks about some really specific things to Greek architecture, but it's really neat because we actually see a lot of these out when you're driving around, especially down in the city, or when you see older buildings. If you guys have ever taken a trip to Europe, you'll definitely see a lot of these there. So talking about the different columns, they had certain rules, and I'm going kind of quickly because you'll be doing this on your own. I would be interested to know what type of column you really like. I really like Corinthian because I think they're really fancy. All right, so when you're finished, you will write down, again, the 3 new facts and the 2 adjectives. All right, for Thursday and Friday, because I think this will take you a couple of days, you're going to answer these Scamper questions on a separate piece of paper. If you want to do it on a big piece of paper, if you have a big piece of paper, you can actually fold it into 8 parts. Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then one of the boxes can be your name and the title of the project. So what would happen if we substituted the columns on the White House with something else? What do you think it would look like? So you can write about what it would look like, and you can also draw it. And if you're not sure what the White House looks like, or you need a little refresher, you can see and notice. I'm not going to tell you what kind of columns these are, but after you look at the Greek architecture, you should be able to tell exactly what kind of column that is. What if the Egyptians combined columns with their pyramids? What would they look like? Now I know we all know what the pyramids look like because we took that virtual field trip to the Great Pyramids of Giza. And Landon, I know you really know what they're like because that was what you researched for your project. What if we adapted our building to make it look like the Greeks designed it? Adapted is just a fancy word for changed. So if we changed our building, what would Johns Creek Elementary look like? So I want you to describe it and draw it. What if we modified the columns on the White House? So instead of substituting them, which is switching them out for something different, we modified them. So we just changed a couple of little parts. What might it look like then? Think about the shape, texture, color, the position, the size, or anything. What if we put columns to a new use? What else could we use them for? So instead of using them for decoration or to hold up part of a building, what else could we use columns for? Think of something that's totally unrelated to architecture and what that might look like. What if we eliminated, which means got rid of, the columns on the Georgia State Capitol building? So here's a picture of the State Capitol building. Isn't that a pretty building? You guys ever seen that gold dome while you're driving around in the city? If you haven't, I'm sure you'll see it next time you go. It's really pretty to look at. What might it look like without the columns? Design a new Georgia State Capitol building so there is nothing at all related to Greek architecture on it. And then finally, what if history was reversed and the ancient Greeks were living today? What might a street in Suwanee look like? So a street that's really close to your house, maybe a street in your neighborhood or the street that you go on to drive to the grocery store. What would that look like if the ancient Greeks were using their types of architecture? All right, for a bonus, you can go on Epic and search for books about architecture. There are so many interesting books to read. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions about any of these projects, please click on this chat message thing on It's Learning and I will answer you as quickly as possible. Can't wait to see your smiley faces again soon. Bye guys.